Mac 20 questions, quick tip using Hazel for automation. And what we're going to do today is going to take some .mov tracks, split the tracks into two separate audio tracks and convert them into AIFF files. So here we are in WhatsApp Studio, and we have the microphone on one channel and the Skype on the other channel. So what you normally do is to do a right click and click on Save to Folder. This is going to give us an AIFF file, but all of the audio is in one track and we want to split that up. And if I open this file up now, you can see that we have both tracks looking exactly the same. And this is not what we're looking for. So even if I split the tracks are both still exactly the same. And that's not going to be any use to us whatsoever. So I'm just going to click on play and you can hear that both sounds are on the same track.
Show that's how I can...
So what we're going to do is we're going to find a way to export this out and have the two different sounds on two separate tracks so that we can work on them separately. So the first thing to do is to, back in WhatsApp Studio, is to right click on it and choose this time Save Lossless Recording to Folder. And this time we're going to call it Splitting the Tracks. Just so that this little trick works, I'm going to put an X dash in front of the file name so that when it gets to Hazel, it knows what to do, or it knows that this is the file I want to work with. So let's have a quick look at Hazel, which gets installed into the system preferences. And what I've done here is I've set up some rules so that if anything gets put into the folder called Interviews to Edit, those rules will come into action. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get Hazel to separate those two tracks into two separate tracks, and eventually they're going to be two AIFF tracks for me. And the first rule is called Open with Conversation Splitter. You'll be pleased to hear that Conversation Splitter can be got from the Ecamm Network site, and if you have a look at this website, just download it and it's free. So let's go back to Hazel now and have a closer look at these rules and what they're going to do for us. So let's double click on the Open with Conversation Splitter and see what we've got in there. And the rule is that if all of the following conditions are met, first of all, the extension has to be .mov. The name of the file has to start with X dash, as we saw in the prefix we put in earlier when we were exporting it out of WhatsApp Studio. And we're also going to tell it to not include files where the name is including open bracket and then side. This is so that Hazel can tell the difference between the files that we put in there and the files that get created by the conversation splitter. And then I have a rule which makes it wait 1 minute before the rules start working on the files that are dropped into the folder. So now we tell it which application we want it to use, and we tell it to colour the files with the label grey. So we then finish up with a grail notification and then it will do the job for us. So let's just click OK on that there now. And so let's now go and have a look in Finder. So you can see that it has started working and split that track into two separate tracks. So there's a track that we started working with, and here's the two tracks that the application made for us. So you can see the file name starts the same, but then it gets appended with the open brackets and side 1 and side 2. So let's go back into Hazel now and have a look at the rules for converting those files into AIFF files. Again, all of the following conditions have to be met before it starts working on that file. So we're going to tell it now that it's going to work on a file with a name containing open brackets and the word side. And again, we've got the date created is not within the last 1 minute. And again, that's just to give it time to settle once the job's been done. We're working with files that got an MOV extension again. And we're telling it that the colour label is not grey. We could probably just about get away without having that last part of the rule in there, but I'll put it in there just in case. So this time we're telling it to open the file with an application called Convert to AIFF. And again, we're telling it to set the colour label to grey. You'll see where this comes in the next rule. So let's go back into the Finder and see if it started to do the job for us. Hazel gives us a menu item in the toolbar, and we can click on that and tell it to run the rules in a particular folder. So you can see now that I have my two AIFF files, and let's take them and drag them and drop them into Amadeus Pro and see what we've got. So there's the first one in there, and then the second one. So now you can see that we have actually got two separate tracks out of that one file, and let's just convert them to mono first of all. You can see a little bit better. Here's our two new tracks, side 2 and side 1. So on the one side we have the giggle track. I bring in two different things, and I'm chatting on one channel there, and so you can easily see that we now have the two tracks separated out, and obviously some good benefits in being able to clean up each one separately. So by using Hazel in combination with those extra movie tools which we got from Ecamm Network, you can do some good editing in Amadeus Pro. Finally, in Hazel, I created a cleanup rule which will clear up all of those files that we don't need anymore. So first of all, we tell it to wait 30 minutes before it starts working with this rule, and then after that we tell it to get rid of any files that are labelled with the grey label. The Hazel rule tells the Finder to send that file into the trash and then to give us a growl notification that the job has been done. And that's all there is to it. Thank you, and don't forget to go and have a look at answer20q.com.